Being at the allotted time, I'd like to call the Park and Rec meeting to order. Please stand for the pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Any changes to the agenda?
The amended.
Amended one?
Yep.
I'd look for a motion to adopt the agenda.
I'll make a motion to adopt the agenda.
Second.
Okay. Motion made by John or by
Richie or Bernie.
Yep.
Second by.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And then there's adopt. I'd look for approval of the April 6, 2026 meeting minutes.
Move to approve the April 6th minutes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes approved. Public comment. Public comment. Oh, I guess they weren't. Being no public comment, we'll consider approval of agreement with the WDNR to install sturgeon habitat along the Pfeiffer Park and Barrett River shoreline. Ginger.
Sure, so I've included this in some of my director's reports in the past and talked about this. We did meet with the DNR, Luke Hammonds, the park superintendent, and I met with the sturgeon biologist and the fish habitat staff from the DNR, and we put together this agreement together. It was a 100% working document between the two of us. I can do this, you can do this. Do you have the supplies for that? Can we do that? And we put this together. Pretty much everything is on the DNR for cost, permitting, labor. They're doing 99% of it. The one thing that we will do is remove any of the brush and the trees that are cut down by the DNR staff and take them to our yard waste site. They did ask that if we need help with cutting down those trees, we will do that. And we agreed to that in late September, early October. Those trees, just for public comment, that they are listed as removals on our tree inventory, so they're definitely slated for removal anyway. And just I think it's a great project. I'm really excited that they recognize the need in Pfeiffer for the sturgeon habitat and are willing to put forth the effort to get that installed. So if there's any questions on it, I'd be happy to answer them.
How far are they going from?
So it is the curve line, if you go a little bit further north. Yeah, the curve line about midfield of north there and to the curve of the middle of south. A little bit higher north. Yep, right about there. So they're gonna be removing all of that old stone and putting in the large sturgeon habitat stone.
Is like every tree coming down?
No, it's probably, I think there's 3 of them.
Anybody have it?
Where is that in relation to the proposed bridge for the?
Just north of it. Yep, that's,
Okay. Thank you.
and they're aware of that project and have that in mind as well.
Be nice to have that bridge there.
Yeah.
Anybody
Oh,
else?
that won't go all the way up to the trestle bridge? No.
Nope, it won't.
Let's pass the ball diamonds then, huh?
Midfield.
Anybody else have any questions for Ginger? I look for a motion to consider and approve an agreement with the WDNR to install sturgeon habitat along the Piper Park and Bears River shoreline.
So moved.
Second.
Motion was made by John, second by Bernie. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Hey, Ginger, consider approval amendment ordinance 9.03.
Yeah, so as I was talking about the archery range in a department head meeting, Chief Wilson brought to my attention that our ordinance doesn't necessarily allow shooting of arrows in the city. And so he helped me develop this amendment to this ordinance. Kind of thinking of anything that we would need to cover as far as the school district, as far as a business coming in that wants to do archery, and then the outdoor archery range. The young boy has started some of the project. I know he's in his fundraising stage right now, so he doesn't have anything formally yet started, but he has started fundraising, so. Any questions here? This is an older ordinance that I think, was created back in the day when.
I didn't know we had an ordinance against throwing snowballs.
Yeah,
either.
yeah, and I mean, a
I'm
stone,
Stones I get, but snowballs?
Yeah,
I mean, yeah,
snowballs, no snowballs. And also notice that this doesn't include private residences, which I know is kind of, I know that they're out there. We had spoken about them in the past.
Anybody else have any other questions for Ginger?
No questions. I think we should just take what she mentioned about businesses into consideration, because I know like Washera County and Watoma, they actually have an archery range and stuff there, and they have a number of 3D shoots there that they actually set up and sponsored by businesses, and they're actually huge for the community, for young kids, different sponsorships, events, Lions clubs, things like that. So I think we would just want to make sure that we would open that up and they would have the ability to sponsor those kinds of events there if they so deemed, or we get a permit for it through the city. It could be a good way to bring people in the community together and bring young kids out there. Maybe not just with mom and dad, but as part of organization. So I definitely would want to make sure we wouldn't eliminate and stop them from doing that.
Yep.
So
So
it's
this
something
would
to
cover
consider.
that for sure.
Should be good.
What about insurance on that,
That's.
if outside? Like groups?
Mhm. So I've been working with our insurance company on our range, and they are the ones that design the rules for the range, and, as far as a public event at the private, or at a private event at the public range, they would have to fill out a special events permit, and we would work with their insurance company to add the city as an additionally insured to that permit, just like we do with any special event that we have in the city. We have a layer of different risk levels. And yeah, I mean, that would probably be a higher risk level that they would have to be a $2 million coverage for, so.
How far away from the dog park is this range gonna be? Is
Sure.
there any concern of people walking the dogs?
Good question. We did take that into consideration. There's a large berm that's gonna be around it. But it's quite a ways, and the shooting is from a different, area, so, like a different location, so. Shooting towards the east instead of the north. So.
Any other questions for Ginger? Look for a motion to approve an amendment to ordinance 9.03.
I'll make that motion to approve amendment to ordinance 9.03.
Second.
John second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Consider, discuss and consider amendment to ordinance 9.162, city boat launch fee.
Yeah, so, the Wolf River Area Patriots, came to us with a request for their annual picnic at the Riverside Boat Launch, Pavilion. They have been doing this event for several years, 13 years. And I will say, as kind of an error on the departments, we've always considered that more of a rental, a private rental. We've seen that they're, wanting to invite the public and things like that, so kind of flag, for me to have them say, just so that we can help them with everything that they need from, just like we do with every special event, we provide picnic tables, we provide barrels. The special event permit application, as you all know, helps us help them. And it helps us go through all of the appropriate steps of getting barricades or picnic tables or any of the city's assets to help them. One of the assets that they asked about was using the parking spaces that are reserved for the launch site. I cannot necessarily give that permission because it's a city ordinance and how that launch is used. Or how the fees are structured for those spaces. So I did provide everybody with that ordinance. They have requested, they're interested in purchasing the launch pass. That's something that could be an option. But like I said, it's a city ordinance. I can't make those decisions, so I think that it's important that we clarify that not only for them, but also for any other group that would want to use the facility in this way. We've had it rented for celebrations of life. We've had it rented for family reunions. We've had it rented for in the past, it was Big Whopper Weekend was the big event there. So how are we gonna go through and in the future, make sure that we do follow along with our ordinance when we do these rentals? So I guess that is what is up for discussion. And I would need a direction of how you would like me to proceed with that request.
Mr. Chairman, I'm with them. Can I add a few words about it before you
Sure,
discuss
go
it?
ahead, go ahead.
Please,
Can you
please.
sit right here?
All right.
Thank you.
Yeah, well,
Just
You
want
can
to sit
just
right
sit
there.
right
That's fine.
there. You can sit right there.
okay, I can talk better standing, sorry.
Oh, okay.
As Ginger said, it's the 13th time we've done this. It's been every year at the same place since 2013, with the one exception of 2020 when the park was closed. I want to introduce Jim Hoffman, who's also on the board, and I'm the secretary of the board. And we are a 501c4 nonprofit organization, and we have, from year one, we rented it. We always tried to be open about exactly what we were doing, fill out whatever papers the city wanted. There's 3 points I want to make. One is, over those 13 years, there's never been a complaint about us, as far as I know. There's always been open parking places still left in there, even though our people were using them. We usually would use, we can fit 2 in a parking place because they're coming without a boat trailer. We've always left it in good condition. Occasionally we came in and found that some of the picnic tables were taken somewhere else, and we were fortunate to get them back in time for the event, because that's where people are seated. And, again, it's on a Tuesday night. It's not on a weekend. It's not, even though it's summer and it's nice weather, there's a lot of people boating, but it's never been full for boaters. it's a free event. That's number one. Number two is it is a free event to the public, and it's always been that way from our advertising. The chamber has advertised it for us. The local paper has printed information on it. We're not asking for anything different, just what's been happening in the past. When we found out that last year was the first time it was posted about parking, that said no parking, and it was only 3 days before the event. So I asked around, talked to the mayor, and said, "What can we do? We got all these people coming, and it says no parking. We don't want people to get tickets." And the city was kind enough to not do any enforcement that night. And the mayor said, "Chris, come early next year because there's a committee that can, consider it. But there's no time for the committee to meet." So that's kind of why we're here and why we got here. If we did, at Ginger's request, apply for a special event permit this year, filled out all of that stuff. And we very much like to, the advertising is already out. We'd rather not move the event, or we get a lot of baby boomers, walking down from the other parking lot is hard for some of them, We would like to be able to do it the way we've done in the past. If the decision is don't do it in the future, we're fine with that. If we know for next year, we either got to move it someplace else, or we got to tell people in advance that, you can't park there. We will be glad to honor that. If there's, and I understand that it's $5 for a daily parking permit. We're glad to buy a bunch of daily parking permits. We can fit 2 in a spot because we don't have people coming with trailers. We just want to do what's right. We never were trying to get away with anything. It's a good event. A lot of the public like it. And we do other events at the Washington Center and at the coffee shop that some of you have participated in the past, and candidates nights and stuff like that. That's all I got. You got anything to add?
Pretty much, we got Pfeiffer Park, which is an awesome place around the river there also, but it's just way too small for us. The other option would be downtown at the park, the old Horseshoe Park. But, awesome place down there, but Camp Canton is there right up until we meet. So it doesn't work for us, And again, there's other great places to go, but this is our best option for parking and be able to get people in there. If we had a better restroom facility someplace, like Pfeiffer Park, which is awesome there, or downtown or at the Horseshoe Park, but that works out better for restrooms, obviously, but for this location has always worked out the best for us, So I'm gonna pass out some of these if you don't mind.
Yeah.
You ready? Okay.
And I would say though, I think I counted around 38 parking places there for the posted ones. And we think we can do it if 12 were set aside, for us. And we would post it, and we would have people send them into the right place. We'd leave the places closest to the launch open. At this point, we want to get through this year without having to, because people are going to come, they're used to coming, and it's going to be hard to stop them from parking there. We'll have to tell them, get back in your car and go move it, go across the road. Thank you.
Chris, I have a question.
Yes.
You said about 12 parking spots.
Yeah, I think 12 would do it because we could put 2 in a spot, so that'd be 24 cars. Last year we got 95 people there, and some of them come as families, some as couples. There's people that are younger that aren't baby boomers. If we filled up those 12, we can send them across the road. Not a problem.
good
I'm not-
information. Thank you. That's what I was getting at, to find out how many people you did have there for the event.
I'm not totally concerned with the Tuesday night. I'm more concerned if somebody rents that on a Saturday. How do you differentiate one event to another? I'm not opposed to if you rent that, you put X amount of parking stalls, the rest you have to pay for, and if they're okay with paying $5, I think $5 per stall is fair if they're gonna park 2 cars in each stall, cause that's what you're gonna get from a boat anyway. I'm okay with, a certain number of them being like part of the rental, cause they're making really good sense when you have something to rent there, but you can't park but on the other side of Highway X.
Ginger, if you had to guess, how many events do you have there a year?
Just the one.
3 to 4,
No,
3 or 4.
Oh, I thought you meant us. Okay,
Three to
yeah.
four?
I just think that whatever we do here, we have to make sure we do for everything.
Yeah.
Right.
It has to be cut
And
and
with-
dry, and this is the way we do it.
With
Right.
those 3 to 4, what do you figure the size is as far as large? You think this group is the largest?
Our average rentals are around 50 people.
Okay,
To Dave's point, my only concern is if we do this and say there's a bass tournament on some day that they're having one of their events, not necessarily your event, but another event, if we make an exception,
No, I'm saying we do it, if we say you get 8 stalls to rent with that,
Like
the rest you have to
included
pay
with your
for, it's
rental.
actually included with the rental, because
Yeah.
you shouldn't have someone
yeah.
park there. We have a bass tournament, they can park across the street also. Because they're paying for it just like the bass tournaments, right? So, you know what I'm saying, everybody's paying.
they're paying for it, but the boat launch was paid for by boat launch people, not by any other groups. These people have
Not that building.
no money in that boat launch.
Well,
So that's-
actually, the boat launch people can buy a one-day pass for $5 as well.
I realize
Yeah.
that, I realize that. But we don't want to make an exception.
No.
We used to do it for the Whopper weekend. We give those the same deal you're asking for, some different parking spots. Because it was, some guys wanted access to get to the, back and forth to the concession stand. So we did make an exceptions for Whopper weekend, similar to what you're talking about. My only concern is that if we do it, if there's a different event held down there at a different time and we make the same exceptions, what if they have a big bass tournament and those other people aren't launching boats? So you're telling somebody that's put money into the boat launch that now all of a sudden you can't use it because these other people down there that had no, say, skin in the game in the boat launch. That's my only problem.
I think what Bob's trying to say is, even though it's a
Aren't the
city
bass
funded,
tournaments on Wednesday?
it is a user funded parking lot. The DNR grant money that came to build that came out of boat registration fees. That's what he's talking about. So, and it would be foolish to try to circumvent that by so it's kind of a conundrum. I guess you have to look at scheduling of it. You have to look at, I'll be honest with you, I've been part of that place for 38 years and I love Whopper Weekend. We support it. But to be honest with you, I can look back, I have at least 27 years of record. When Whopper Weekend was held in that park, that was our slowest revenue weekend in 27 years, repeatedly. Why? Because people with boats during the heat of the walleye run, now this is a different time of year, but people with boats come to go fishing during the walleye run, and it's all parked up with people that are drinking beer and eating buffalo burgers. That is a problem, especially when you only have 7 or 8 stalls on the other end for people to come in and get bait and stuff. And then basically you can look at that, there's 3 boat launches. The one farthest to the east is basically useless. Soon they'll be putting the kayak launch in there and it's good for that. But basically that's just useless for anybody with a decent trailer. So you only have 2 down next to the shelter. And so even if there is only a couple fishermen going on a Tuesday night, or there's a Tuesday night bass tournament, which there is sometimes, Not that we get any revenue out of bass tournaments, cause they, whatever, but just for your knowledge of it, if it's congested down on one end, it gets pretty difficult. And I know in a couple of years, at least every year with, and God bless the Fish and Game Club, I'm just being very honest with you. In fact, somebody's gonna lash out on me about it. But I can tell you for a fact, when there's events that are non-registered boats type things, it does affect, depending on the fish. This year, the white bass are in New London late. We had a flood. They're just starting to be crazy here and biting. On June 23rd, they might be lots of people here fishing. You never know. When the northern pike fry hatch, everything's Mother Nature, and whatever happens on the river, you can't really predict fishing. So I'm not against the event. I've gone to the event down there, but I've seen it from both sides of the coin. And I can tell you that I can see Bob's concern and I can see Chris and Jim's concerns. I don't see a problem with it. It's a great event for the community, but if we're gonna make a policy, we need to really think it through. And, you know, this thing is in what, June 23rd. I think we gotta come up with something for the meantime so that they can go on with the planning, and this event does draw people from out of town and it's a great event. It's an opportunity for people to socialize in a city park, but yet we do, I know Chris said they haven't had just many complaints or anything, but they don't really hear it. It's the guy pulling the trailer that came here from Algoma. It's the guy that came here from Fond du Lac. It's the guy that came here from wherever, and they're like, what the F? I can't get a boat down in there. And then if the kayak dock is in, they can't even get one in the,
That's actually never happened at our, I can tell.
So
well,
We do
They
take
haven't
those
come down.
complaints at our office and we have had complaints about the event. So just so
But
you're
did they
clear,
tell, but did they tell you there was no spots? Cause there always has been spots left.
So I have a question about across the road.
Yeah.
How many stalls are there that are public? Or are those are all, and how many do we have?
20, I think there was 20. I just went through that.
numbers, he's counting.
38,
3 and 1
42.
accessible.
Okay,
So I've noticed another problem since on the other side, that there's those single stalls along there, and there's some along the shelter itself. But then you have the boat tie down only stalls. And
There's 5 by the.
I very seldom see people actually use them for boat tie down stuff. Used to be all single stall parking, and people prompt them if they're taking lollygagging and deciding to winterize their boat in the middle of a parking lot, a public parking lot, or unwinterize their boat in the middle of the parking lot. Beep, beep, come on, move out of the way, buddy, whatever. But eliminating those single stall parking has kind of almost made the problem worse, just in my opinion. Looking at it for 38 years, people pretty much still park in there. Believe me, I've gone there and people that use the trail don't have any place except now they can park up at the other end. But it's kind of a matter of, I don't know, I mean, people typically when people say, well, where is there any place, I'm here in town, I'm meeting people and I'm going fishing, where do I park a single car? There's 1, 2, 3 spots for it. You can tell them to park along X, but you try to discourage that. And really the stalls across the street, at least for now, we still have them, but when the treatment plant's rebuilt, we probably aren't gonna have them stalls across the street.
We got the overflow parking too.
Yeah, now we have the new overflow parking, but the audience here for this type of event, that's way too far to walk unless they had some kind of shuttle that going back and forth, which
I was
that,
just thinking more boat launch people.
Don't you
Yeah.
think it's kind of ridiculous? If you're renting out a shelter house and you're not offering anybody a place to park, that's just asinine. You gotta give them some place to park.
yeah.
They are renting your shelter house.
Right.
And that's where I was gonna go
That's
with
where I'm
this.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna suggest, to take it off the rental list so that
Yeah.
groups like us don't think we're getting parking with it. Because we did until the signs were posted, not quite a year ago. We always thought, hey, we rented the park, we can park here, and nobody's told us otherwise, and,
I
and
don't,
it, you know, the one point I'd like to make is if you decide you can't let us do it this year, or you can't let us do it in general, let us complete this year, you know, and we'll go somewhere else, or we'll start telling people right up front in the advertisement, you gotta go down by the parking lot over by the restaurant there, you know? But, it's, you know, it doesn't seem logical that you'd rent out that pavilion to a group and then not do something to make parking, even if you charge an extra fee. We don't mind charging the extra fee. We don't mind paying the $5 a piece for a dozen spots, you know? But that's all I would
I'm
like to say.
not disagreeing with that. I totally agree with that. I don't even know why we don't have more parking stalls other than 3 straight stalls and have a shelter of that size. We got kids fishing this weekend. And yeah, it's a park sponsored event. It's not a rental, but technically, if you look at this ordinance, there's gonna be a bunch of cars parked there, parents dropping kids off. And there's also people that wanna fish off those docks, and then people might not know this, but if you're fishing off those docks and a fisherman using, or a boater using the boat launch comes in, the fisherman must yield right away, because you don't want, it's a boat launch facility paid for with registration fees and user fees. Yes, you can publicly fish there, but where are you gonna park to publicly fish? So the problem is not just this event in our thesis of what this ordinance needs to be, but if you have a structure that size, you should have to have so many straight parking stalls, or at least allow it or permit it temporarily, something like that. I'm 100% for that.
Couldn't you
It's
just
just-
take the two boat landings, one's on the west side, the center one and the one on the west side, where them cars are parked, where them guys normally back in, just close those off and let them park on the ends. That way they still got room to get their boats in and out. You know what I'm saying?
why don't
You
we,
take, like, from the edge of that west landing to the edge of the center one. Now you've got at least 10 to 12 stalls there, and that's the easiest way to back in anyway. Then you pull out and you put your trailer right where you always do. And then leave the ones over here and over here and towards bait shop for parking for this event or any event.
why don't we do it this way? Why don't we give them this year, like he said, because they got invitations out. It's kind of reserved almost already for them, and people are gonna be coming here. Why don't we kind of table this and we can look at it this summer to see how we really want to handle it, that thing, give it some longer discussion. Let them have it this year like they want to do it, and then next year we can look at different plans to do it. Because otherwise, we could be here for hours talking about this. I don't, how does that sound to everybody? Is that, unless somebody's got a better idea?
We're good with it.
Definitely don't wanna cancel it. I mean.
No,
that's
no,
how
I don't want to, we don't want to shut down
No.
there's nothing about that at all.
And they definitely need to park there, so.
Right.
I mean, it's
I
just.
mean, we got a lot across the road. We just made a new overflow lot parking. There's no reason why them end stalls on Riverside,
I think them
that
right
could be
there,
blocked off.
them right there should
That's
be
the-
straight parking for
Yep.
rentals for that pavilion.
Yeah,
If our facility is being.
Cause if I gotta drive out, if I put my boat in and I gotta drive all the way around to park over there, I can park there or I can park in the overflow. That, and that far side, that there's no,
And
you know what I
there's-
mean? That's just,
And there's people that fish down there all the time that park exactly where you're saying.
my son has parked there 100 times to fish right
Right.
there.
Right, they're catching white bass
Yeah.
like crazy right now. In fact, it's gonna be a perfect weekend for kids fishing. But that does make sense, so that's something we should look at.
Absolutely.
Beyond, like, let's get through this.
And we get this
Timeline.
done this year and then we can hash this out.
Yeah.
So what's your
Ourselves.
suggestion moving forward for this group?
I-
What's your suggestion moving forward for this group? Let them have as many as they want, or 12?
Well,
What's your
they, you
suggestion?
were asking for what,
12.
12?
12 to 4, or yeah, 12.
How does that sound, to everybody here?
Included with their rental, or are you charging them?
Well, we were gonna charge them $5 of
Included with a rent.
having a sticker.
Included with a rental, them ones along the
And we just
river,
block off that.
right there.
that-
I think that's
Those-
12.
Yep, 12 or 13, it's.
Yeah.
One's handicap.
And then you got a couple natural ones right there.
There's about 14.
by the
14?
shelter.
I mean, that'd be,
So that would, yeah,
does that work?
How does that?
That
That'll
side?
work.
Yeah,
That'll
just-
work, and if we get more than that, we will have people, parking people, and we'll steer them across the road or
Yep.
down. or-
And Chris,
Have
can
them
you,
strap a
can you do me
kayak.
a favor,
Sure,
and this committee a favor? Let us know how that works out for you guys.
we will,
Yeah,
will,
that'd be very
because-
helpful for the information going forward.
because,
We work with some fishermen, the whole time we've been down. I mean, you know, it's good to them and look, we'll move some cards or whatever. We work with them, you know. we can
fed
understand.
them a few hamburgers and brats.
Yeah, whatever, you know, I mean, so. I mean, so
Was everybody
it has
okay?
worked.
Everybody okay with the consensus, kind of, we?
Yep.
in Agreement with it? That sounds okay?
All right,
So
thank
then
you,
we'll
folks,
just-
I appreciate your time and willingness to
Okay.
hear us out on this.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thanks, Ginger. for-
Yep. Yep, thank you guys.
so this, we don't have to take any action on this item. then.
No,
We'll table this for, say,
Bring it back next month.
next month.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
bring
then
it back
we'll
next
keep it
month for
rolling.
discussion.
Yeah,
Make
get
sure
some
it gets
feedback
done.
from Chris right again.
Right,
on that
those
one,
guys,
for
right,
having that.
right.
Yeah.
So we do it that way then.
I can also bring back like how many parking stalls that section could hold for regular cars, just have a new map kind of drawn up with that.
Maybe they'll change their mind and go to Pfeiffer. I mean, they got a restroom there. I mean, here they don't
They
even have a
don't,
restroom.
they do, but they don't have a pavilion.
Yeah,
Yeah, but I think we need to really think about it. I mean, we have a pavilion there that is
Could be
usable
used
and rental.
more.
yeah.
It could be used more.
yeah,
And we need to make sure that we're,
That it's usable.
yes.
All right,
Throughout the day, people park there, eat their lunches. There's a bunch of moms down there right now with kids fishing. And they gotta have someplace to park.
Yeah.
You know, when
Just
we,
like our overflow,
when
we
we put the
made that.
overflow in, we made some single parking stalls and it's used wonderfully that
I
way.
think
Yes,
years ago, they made as many stalls as they could because that's all the room they had, right?
correct.
That was before the garage was up. They didn't have extra stalls over there. I mean, 25 years ago, there was nowhere to park but there.
Yeah.
Now we have overflow over there. We have across the street. Now we can start talking about utilizing that space there for kids to fish and having somewhere to park.
I like that.
okay, sounds like we got a good consensus anyway. All right, Ginger, updates and reports.
Sure, what we had in my memo, just that, we are incredibly busy, just getting ready, shelter rentals, baseball. Everything that we normally do, including then the 2 special events that are coming up this weekend. We have the Chevy Car Show on Sunday, and of course, kick off the summer downtown on Friday. I just wanted to make sure that I thanked my staff because during our last committee meeting, or council meeting in April, I thanked the volunteers that helped with the flood event and the people that brought the food and brought the water. But I want to specifically point out my staff. They all did a phenomenal job down there, whether they were checking people in, actually doing sandbags themselves. They just did a great job. Chris and Liz in the office felt like they were helpless, but they were answering the hard questions when people would call, and that was a huge help too. So just make note of that in my memo. I also just wanted to, give a couple updates on some questions that I'd been getting. I am working with Schmidt Boat Docks on a railing at the end of the gangway for the new dock. I don't think that Schmidt's understood how low our raw water could go. And I did, I verbalized that to them, but I think now they see that, there's quite an angle, and like you had mentioned, I'm working on that. I said it could be really fun for a kid to get on a bike and take that ride, and he's like, well, why would you want to prevent them from that? And I'm like, that's not really what I'm into. We're not in the water slide business, so, or whatever that would be called, so.
Close to the discharge pipe too.
Yeah, that too, so. We had a lot of little things that are popping up in Pfeiffer and Taft, for flood damage that we weren't aware of initially right after, we did our assessments. Scoreboards at Pfeiffer went wonky due to the electrical boxes being underground. Those are fixed now. The bathroom pump, I think I might have mentioned that, in my past meetings. But we have that fixed now. So that will be available for park shelter rentals starting this weekend. At Taft Park, if any of you have heard, there was some shifting in the paver blocks. The sand underneath the paver blocks had washed, with the river. So, we'll be looking at possibly fixing that. So if you get any complaints about that, know that we're on it. We're aware of the situation. I think that's it. Yeah,
Add to the damage to the parks.
yeah,
Especially if there's gonna be any kind of insurance claim or.
sure.
The railing at Taft took a hit from
Yeah,
trees and different things hitting on it. The railing is also another thing at Taft. And then, at, Berniger Riverwalk, that handicap concrete ramp was undermined pretty bad as a
yeah,
result of the flood. So just those so that they get included into the
okay. I have not been
infrastructure
on Bernier, and I
damage.
know you had mentioned something about that too,
And-
so I'll take a walk down there.
the infrastructure damage as a result of the flood,
Yeah,
stuff's gonna keep rearing its ugly head.
I know, there's all sorts of little things that are just like, oh, that must have happened because of the water, and so, yeah.
I was at a softball tournament Friday, Saturday, and Sunday in town, and I took the opportunity to share all the photos and stuff of our flood to people that came into our community, and they could not talk up enough of how the fields were put back together and usable. So you guys did a really good job.
It is unbelievable that Memorial South was completely underwater and pulled together like it is. So thank you. I'll pass that along.
They also played down at Pfeiffer and had the same remarks.
Yeah, so update with Memorial or Pfeiffer Middle. I had the bid process finished up last Thursday, and we had one bid submitted for that for Midwest Athletic Field, so they will be replacing that diamond as soon as they can get it on their schedule. Obviously, this is a busy time of year of them, but they said that they would try to prioritize us to get us back on there by the next baseball tournament, which is the 12th, I believe, so.
When are the docks going in by longevity?
The, tomorrow morning, I believe, but this week is our week to get everything wrapped up. Flowers downtown will be out tomorrow morning. The baskets went up a couple days ago. The kayak launch will be put in by Friday. It's insane how busy how much grass.
Have flood pushed everything.
Yeah, yep, 2 weeks is a lot. And also the cold weather. The Thursday before Memorial Day, we had a hard frost that would have completely ruined our flowers if we would have put them out. And then we were just so busy, and so that's why they're just going out this week. A week later than I'd like them, but at least they won't get frostbite, so.
Did anybody happen to go out by the Big Eddy and see that little thing that used to go out in the middle of the thing and
Yes,
like this, that Roger Pitt put in,
yeah,
well, he paid for it.
help, yeah.
Your dad, and some of us put it in there, but that thing must have floated up out of those spikes that we had in the ground and just went like that over to the bank.
Yeah.
So it's completely useless now.
And that's another good point about us not getting our docks put in as early as we, people would like them. I think we should maybe wait until May 1st before we start to put them in, because we held on tight to the ones that were down at the boat launch, and we had a gentleman that tied one off for us, that he drove by and he saw that one was starting to come up over the poles, and obviously we don't ever want to see that event ever again, but you can't say that and not expect it. so.
Right. I do commend the city though, cause it was an early ice out and the fishing early on was good.
Yes.
It was a drought situation, actually. Nobody really would have thought the water would have got this
Right.
high. And a lot of people from out of town were coming here because the docks weren't in at Gills and the docks weren't in at the cable crossing and the docks weren't in at a lot of places. City of New London, right after Blizzard Elsa, within a week, had the docks in and people complimented the city and thanked the city, they
Every
did a
day I
great
go
job
down
of getting the
look
boat
at 'em
launch docks in.
Yeah,
But, the thing about why they would float off those pipes, that's more of a 100-year flood thing. And I remember
Right.
they've had those pipes extended twice now.
Mhm.
And you can't really extend them anymore. It's
No.
gonna be an unsightly.
like the current ones at the overflow.
But you never know.
Just so
That's,
you know.
that's how much our water fluctuates.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like you're damned if you do and damned if you don't.
Right,
Navigation buoys, on the other hand, that's something that I think you can cure by signage, and navigation buoys probably should never go out before May 1st. When they hit 7 feet, you just put a freaking notice out there and you put signs up at the landing, slow no wait. Because our crews constantly were out there adjusting the buoys, and their city workers working out in a boat with heavy weights, heavy buoys, adjusting the buoys because of the flood, and the buoy shouldn't be out before it. That's my,
that
or
did put
May
us in a
1st.
very dangerous situation.
Yeah, they shouldn't be out before May 1st.
The reason for the buoys going out is that we don't have any enforcement on our own staff, police department. So with the buoys out, DNR and sheriff can enforce a regulatory buoy. They cannot enforce our local ordinance. So to your point, if we put a sign out, nobody can enforce that except our staff, and we don't have any staff that goes out there. So that's why we put the buoys out. Then the DNR and the sheriff can enforce a regulatory buoy.
Mhm.
So that's the whole point that why
Yeah.
we put them out, because we don't
Yeah.
have our own staff enforcing it. So, but to your point too, yeah, we spend a lot of time
Yeah.
maintaining them. just
Wouldn't that be a
because
county thing though too? If they,
They cannot
it out-
enforce, they can't enforce our local ordinances. Only our staff can enforce them.
We had a pretty good discussion last year about that.
That's why they gotta get Outagamie and Wapaka County on the same page. So that if they do post at our boat landings, that it's the same. Cause when they go up there, who knows if they're in Outagamie County or Wapaka County? And they both have different times that they put them in. One is 9 and one is 8 or something, so they could get together. And they aren't gonna get the same as ours because we're 7.
Mhm.
But if they could get at least 8 and 9 and 9, whatever they wanna do, so that people know, if they go out of here, what the rules are. That's not our problem. That's the counties should gotta get together to do that. But maybe Ginger, maybe you could prod them a little bit
Mhm.
to do that.
And that's a challenge too, because when like Wapaka County enforces that or posts that, I mean, it could be high here, but if the Little Wolf is low, it could be way low or, down in Fremont, not necessary to enforce. It could be
Yeah.
flipped the other way if the Little Wolf is just flowing huge.
Water's way higher there. than-
Yeah, the county is a hard thing to enforce because it's a
Yeah.
way different
I think
height from that whole thing.
Back on task.
Yeah, so we better.
I did, just so you know, I did get a apology from Zach from the county emergency management team about putting that sign at our launch about Slow No Wake when we had just went off and he put the sign up. So I know there was some confusion about that on social media. And he emailed me, I was like, sorry, I signed your launch and I won't do that again. It was just a confusion, so. They had put a slow no wake sign, like a step-in sign at our launch, so.
Oh,
so that's fine.
county's only a
Yep.
stone toss away.
Yeah,
Okay, review our next meeting date. July 7th. Work for everybody then, I can't stop.
Yeah.
Okay. Got anything else, Ginger?
no,
Anybody else got anything?
Yeah, can we put on the agenda for next month or whatever to discuss about that, kids fishing day?
what would you like to discuss about it?
As far as charging them to go fishing.
So that's in our fee policy. And it's approved every year. And it is a single event, that is listed in that policy. And we've been charging for it for 26 years, or 24 years, I know for sure. It is listed in our fee policy, so it is addressed at council level. I don't know if that's something that you want to discuss, we will be addressing fee policies again soon. In August or September, so we
Okay.
can put that on the.
On the
add that.
agenda for them?
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah.
Make the motion for adjournment.
So moved.
All in favor?